Amitabha Buddha greetings to all the people. Ladies and gentlemen, the people woke up this morning. The first idea is, do people remember the Buddha? People remember the Buddha, but do people have the heart to pray for the dead? Your Holiness is the representative asking permission to engage with the masses before we enter. Sharing learning. Non-tissue ad do Buddha. Non-tissue ad do Buddha. Non-tissue ad do Buddha. I ask Amitabha Buddha to send me to the West. Non-tissue ad do Buddha. Non-tissue ad do Buddha. Non-tissue ad do Buddha. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're still learning quotes from Master Hamsun's Sleepwalking. Let's all listen together. Listen to a part of his teaching. Master teaches, who recites the Buddha in their heart would vow to be born again. But you have to cut off the root of life and death first. It works quickly. The origin of life and death is the desire for the things used in the world. And beauty advances. Good food or good food right now. It's all about suffering. We must try our best to get rid of all anger and resentment, attachment to love, and all the evil teachings. That's what the evil spirits said. Only believe after the Buddhist meditation. Every day recite to books of Maitreya. How much to recite Buddha? Sentence or not counting is just mind. Don't forget the title of Buddha. The Buddha is the... If you do not forget the Buddha every day, mindfulness of enlightenment. If the mind forgets the Buddha, it is unconscious. It's a phase of the Master. Detective advised practitioners to recite the Buddha. He's the first stage you listen to. It is said that the person who recites the Buddha, even though there is a prayer in my heart, but you have to cut off life and death first. It works quickly. You know here. That person, when we hear the recitation of a recollection of the Buddha's vow to be born, but it's really just an outlier out of their mouths. It means that, well, we hear people talk. We hear people talk about it. We hear the Master say that and then imitate him. But I really don't know. Why do I need to make a vow? Why do I need to go to the West? Here you say, to cut off the root of birth and death means that they recite their vows. It's just that they do what they do. And when you hear people say so, just do it. I don't know anything, but really you say. If you want to be effective quickly, then we have to know that. Why do we need to pray? He said because the root of death and birth. The story that we're involved in a small family. We are enchanted at the use of this world. Interested in this world. As Master Shanghai, what do you say? Everything in this world is fake. Nothing is true at all. We think that we've made a big career out of it. Then that's mine. We think that husband and wife coming together is old school. Forever is happiness forever. It will last forever and it's mine. We create children. We think that we've kept it all our lives. At the end of his life, he will feed himself. Not sure where to eat. How many great careers you see in this life. What era is it now? What era is it? The age of disaster. Is there an earthquake or a tsunami? Is there a hurricane? Volcanic collapse and explosion is not too much. We really are. If only we could take advantage of the phone. We've learned a lot. We learn impermanence there. Many things. So, here's what you mean by that. What is the root of birth and death? It's the passions that are the uses of the world. We think those things are ours. We don't know that once we close our eyes, hands down when an accident comes, what is mine, and what we can take with us. Maintain career according to the body. There is only merit, only merit. That's what we remember from the outside. Something that belongs to matter. What is mine, gentlemen? My wife, my husband who loves me. Who worries me, my filial child? Let's worry about whether we can go to hell. They can't worry about us. It was just me taking care of myself at the time. By that, he said here that in his heart, he is, but know that cutting off the root of birth and death first. Many people are just out of the mouth. Understand our hips through listening to this. Why do we need to pray for God? Because in this world, what is real. For us, those are all factors. These are obstacles to propel us in the 6 ways of birth and death. That's what you said. Now I'm off work. I don't raise my father now. To raise your mother. I am not with my husband and wife. I left all my children. So, we also got it wrong about spiritual practice. What is a practitioner who recites the Buddha? Choose the right to do your duty. To this world, the enemy of karma. We come to this world. People come to this world with a lot of karma. But to this world, you came to me for what? Debt repayment. Husband and wife to come together is favorable or adverse. Favorable or adverse conditions. We can't deny it here. It cannot be called irresponsible. Fight with those around you. That people recite the more a practitioner practices, the more responsible he is to his family. The happier the family becomes. New prove that one thing, that the recitator of the Buddha is enlightened, always clear. Production. Let's not call it letting go. It's in our minds. We know that things come to this world. You have to be responsible. You have to be responsible. But only our own lives. If we don't build, we don't keep. When you close your eyes, nothing to carry. Only career according to the body. There is only a new blessing. What's new is what we can carry. We know that already. In all circumstances, accept it. Be true to your family. In accordance with that family responsibility. Silently, but practice silently reciting the Buddha. I want to keep that strong mind. I have to say that. I listen to French every day. Because our ordinary minds are one-sided. Go the wrong way. Give up a few days. And suddenly you see that your mind will retreat. The practice immediately. Why? No motivators, no reminders. No motivators, no reminders. A martial artist. A writer who wants to write or to train. To think, to be curious. Yeah, a martial artist who wants the skill not to be called tomorrow. Day also training. I want to have good health every day. It also has to be regular sports. It's about working a day and then a week. If you do it for a week and then miss a month, there will be no results. And there's no result. It's also our guy. Whether it is the world or the world, it is the same. Our spiritual practice. If we treat them, we're late. We just need a day or two. BA for days without retreats. Not to recite the Buddha. Then definitely give up. It's definitely a retreat. There's definitely a problem with the spiritual technique. This age is very important. Recitation of the Buddha. Building trust is a long-term thing. Throughout, do not interrupt. As a responsible person, to myself is to remind myself automatically. And responsible to you is to talk every day to motivate learning together. Let's build our faith together. You should be very responsible. By that, you should also be responsible for yourself. With myself, let the people do it for themselves. Build for AI, build for yourself. We know this well, but it's the mess of the affliction. because of the greed here, he said at Sao. The roots of life and death we keep drifting. We just cling to the root of life and where the roots of life and death come from, of the world's uses, to indulge in the pleasures of the world. He said, buy greed from the beauty, from the use of the world. The voice or the words eat the voice. Beautiful clothes in this world, they are all the source of suffering. Let's go back and say we are not. Dress well if you have good conditions. Dress well. Good food, good food, good food, good food. But I didn't fall for it either. We're not attached to that. Once you get it, if not, eat well and eat poorly. I'm really telling you, gentlemen, the one who gets dressed well, where do you get good food from? From their blessings they have. They also grow the good stuff. The good newspaper, now they've got those things. There are many poor people, are you not? Cause that cause. So, now we have to accept the poverty of poverty. What is everything? Whatever it is, it is. So, here we're saying, let's accept the situation, the truth. Have fun in the current situation you have. It is good to have a peaceful day. Be today's. 3 days a week of peaceful recitation of the Buddha is a good day. 2 days a week. Poor rich people. Busy already, but have time to recite the Buddha. Have a clear mind to identify. What you are is suffering. The ecstasy is fun. To feel that the recitation of the Buddha, the act of praying is one thing. Can't think, it can't be discussed for us. We're so lucky that we have human bodies. We are so lucky that we met the Buddha. Even more fortunate when we meet the pure Dharma. Meet the one that complements the continuation. German relay from Sub-D-Da. And good luck. I am even more fortunate to be able to believe. Can vow. And in this life we can do that. Then we certainly believe that this life we will escape from the 6 ways of birth and death. Born in the West, ecstasy has escaped from the 6 ways of birth and death. Here we are. Listen to this part. In my heart, I often pray. But you said, often vow to be born. But we must know the root of birth and death. There are many people who talk about the Buddha, vow to be born, but embrace the family, embracing career, embracing the beauty, embracing the pleasures of this world. Once we weigh something down, then we'll run after that. Now we're going to put the Buddha's name on a heavy weight, placing the will in the heart. We know this is the time of death we can use. What care can't use? The careers, the loves, the feelings, the attachments, not only can't help us. When he died, it's a factor that interferes with the spiritual path. Factors that cause hindrance, our own way of life. That's why I pray. But in everyday life, practice letting go. Look at the root of death. What is the root of birth and death? It's our attachments, our cravings, like the modern world. And as the Master said in these stages, then we practice gradually public. It's not about getting it back, not letting go of the whole family. Let go of your career. Right responsibility, right duty. In accordance with that duty, accept the employee situation. Build your own garden and build your own dessert. It's trying to recite the Buddha regularly. Both spouses are fortunate to come together. My kids are getting together to pay their debts. When you close your eyes, no matter how much, no matter how happy they are afraid to separate. There is nothing to carry, only karma. Day by day we build up the Buddha recitation to pray for life. Then our future will be born. This must be believed. The Buddha is the cause, and make sure that the Buddha is fruitful for us. This place believes it absolutely. Keep talking here. We must make every effort to rid ourselves of anger, resentment, of attachment to love. Gradually, at this stage we're talking about the great ones. Then you say, Try to throw away. It's actually throwing away. It's not very difficult. And we ourselves throw away. It's also very difficult for us to do that. But what can we do? There is a saying that you teach. He said that reciting the Buddha is to bring pure ideas, to change the notions of pollution into a pure idea. Well, once you get angry, what is it? It's a human impurity. It's a human habit. When the charm hits the scene, it's envy. It's more than losing. It's hatred. It's anger. There are newcomers that we see that way. We blame ourselves. I said, why is that? No, people. It's just a normal human condition. What is our spiritual person? It's that we practice gradually turning that into something. It's simply the idea of Buddha. Concept of Buddha. I've heard that when we encounter these things, meet those difficulties, as long as we convert our thoughts. Wrong. I'm in ecstasy. The future of happiness is not to be angry. No better than losing to someone. Western-born people are ecstatic. I can't make them suffer now. Let's accept them. They make themselves miserable. Don't make them suffer. Come to the people. He comes to you with all his love. What is that? It's learning by virtue of Amitabha Buddha. Our future is born in the West ecstasy. Our future is to embrace the Buddha's My future is to go home with you. Then we must learn according to his works. If you can let go, practice letting go. What can be forgiven, forgive. Forgive people. Give yourself a chance to come back later. On the path of life or the path of difficulty, meet the challenge, meet obstacles. Karma comes to us, then people will also forgive themselves. Give yourself a chance. Give others a chance to forgive. It means for me, a chance to forgive yourself. So through this process, we have to throw it all away. The heart of anger. Anger attached to delusion. Those minds, once they arise, I simply want to stop it. It's hard to get that part, but it's easy to convert it. How does one find this Buddha sign when we see? We are not in our hearts when we feel the will to die, and then when we see that we can't forgive, then we see, why am I so selfish? Why are ecstatic people so selfish? Why Buddha Dai said, the blissful West is a realm of pure joy without suffering. Have fun at home. There is no hell on earth. Because it's all love and it's all respect. There is no ignorance. There is no infatuation. No more envy than defeat. Let's not be the ones polluting the ecstasy of the Western world. The future is born there, but also has a mind. More jealous than losing is ecstasy pollution. Poor Buddha Dai. We think, poor father, how many lives to build a good world? Now I'm up in the trash. The world is dirty. It's dirty. Make you have to clean up the ecstasy. I mean, it's funny. So we really did. I am determined to pray. If you let go, learn according to the merit of the Buddha Maitreya. I forgive people with natural anger. Where does anger come from? Because I think I'm better than you? I want to be jealous of you because I want to compete with you. We think the future is already here and nothing in this world is real to me. Close your eyes, nothing to carry. Painting is chi. Painting is chi. Now say the Buddha recitation. Go to the Buddha more. Who lets go more and does it? It's still better. Do that. It still causes the Buddha to recite for us. Let's practice, people. It's not difficult. The important thing is to practice training. You see that? Every day you hear it like this. It's not that simple to be built like this. The person who says receive is really not simple. But to talk all the time, if there is no mind to let go, without faith, you can't be right. I can't say it all the time. It's not one knows. It's 4 in a row. It's like that every day. It's actually very patient, you guys. So the public hears these episodes. It's true. So patient. Let's share your learning. Let's try. Don't waste time practicing Buddhist meditation. Here you say, that's back to the problem. He said, back to the problem. You conclude is the problem. only believe deeply in a Buddhist meditation. I recite two morning prayers every day. Business D-Dar. We recite so that we can feel the Western world, to see the enmity of the Western world, and we know what our goal is. Reading to the Bible is know the Western world. Western world news. Want to go back to the ecstatic Western world and do something. Goddess grace is sure to come back. Here you say, every day recite to books of the Maitreya morning. That means we want to remind ourselves, is the directional goal of the recitator. What is the origin of the Western world? If you are not eligible, not enough stuff between two mornings, or can recite the sutras, but just reciting Buddha is not so, because prayer reminds us, it encourages us, it's our wake-up call. What are you doing? Right, we're on the right path, our direction. Now you don't read a prayer a day, but it's shared, it's learned. I received German as well as being accepted. What is a motivational reminder like this? The D-Dar Sutra, immeasurable life experience, immeasurable life. Tell me what the purpose is. To exclaim the ecstasy of the Western world. Advise people to recite the Buddha. Quickly recite the Buddha. I pray for the days. These great tips, encouraging you to try to recite the Buddha. Recap the problem. The Bible tells us how many revelations there are. In the end, what do you advise me to do? So, you're talking here. Reading is not when we read, or when we have to do research. Depending on the condition, depending on everyone's schedule, reading is still important. As Master Cheng did not say, if we've really built our will, the mind is strong. The Bible doesn't have to be read either, because Sao practices Buddhist mindfulness. It is the practice of the Buddha's words. The Lord taught that. So, how many verses are you saying here? Or not counting, or calculate the number of points. The mind does not forget the title of enlightenment. Now, back to the point of saying, they want the root of death. I want to be greedy about eating and sleeping. Dress well in the world. They don't want them to be. They are used in the world. I don't want to be angry. Whatever you say, it must be the last word, because mindfulness is enlightenment. Take your bowls. To do my spiritual practice of humanity is that you recite the Buddha's verses. Every thought Buddha does not forget Buddha is. Enlightenment means wisdom. The mind does not forget the Buddha. If you forget the Buddha, it means that you are ignorant. So finally back to the point. What did you say in one last sentence? Recite the Buddha. Recite the Buddha often, then nature does not crave the world infecting sex. Recite the Buddha often, then anger and envy will naturally let go. Where will I let go of something? In my mind I remembered the Buddha earnestly praying for his birth. Everything can be let go. The mind thinks of the future. Then everything can be let go. Adversity or advantage. Adversity. The more we can see through her, the more she lets go. Recollection of Buddha is a good opportunity to recite the Buddha, to quickly return to the Western world. Ecstasy, so everything comes to us every day. How many memories? Either we have a number or we don't have a number. These are the great. He's said to be submissive, but it's really about our identity. There is a fixed lock time. It still helps us fix our minds. Help us? It makes it easier for us to concentrate our efforts. So it's our everyday reporting down to the Buddha. That's the idea of modernity. Modern is no good. I am so honored. I'm bad. Should report to try together, try together, try. You try to modernize, try to. Modern see. You see. Modern try. Naturally. You modern see, open up to YouTube, see you modern report. I think you're better than modern. Modern is trying harder. What are we? It's a companion that relies on each other. Let's hold hands in the West. So, today through this phase, what is the final attribution? Is to remember the Buddha often recites the Buddha as enlightenment, is wise, is awake. Then things gradually we will. I can do it all, and I can see through it all. To resolve to die, it's so heartfelt. Pray for birth. What to do reciting the Buddha? The Buddha's name is his vision. The title of Buddha is a merit report. The name Buddha is a thing. Enlightened insight mean man. Bring that clear enlightenment. Bring it to our minds. Then surely we will become wise people. Min man. But if the mind forgets the Buddha, it is unconscious. If you get dirty, everything will fall away. Let go slowly and right the mind of this world. Today's stage is modern. Once again the students read again to end today's sharing. The Master teaches people to recite the Buddha in their hearts. I swear to God, but I have to know. Cut off the roots born before. It works quickly. The origin of life and death is the desire for the things used in the world, and beauty, fame, or good dress in the present. It's all about suffering. We must try our best to get rid of all the sounds, the anger of the god of attachment to love, and all the evil teachings. Of the evil spirits, said the evil master, remember to believe only after a Buddhist recitation. Every day recite volumes of the Italian. Here in the modern world, again, what is chanting is to build up your faith. If someone doesn't have enough time, have conditions to recite them. I recite the Buddha. And we hear that the Dharma is also building up its will, and reciting the Buddha is the practice of volition. Our happiness is also full. How many verses do you recite? Or not counting, or counting is just the heart of the soul. Don't forget the name Buddha. Buddha is a perception. If every thought does not forget, Buddha is a thought. Mindfulness of enlightenment. If the mind forgets the Buddha, it is unconscious. It means unawareness. Mind to the place. Well, it's over. Modern misreading. That's the stage. Today we're learning with the masses. Let the people try. The mass of effort and determination. This life is born in the Western world ecstasy. I wish the people the best of luck. This life is soon born. About the ecstatic Western world. Non-tissue AD do Buddha.